This is a record of some Plique jour wings I made for a jeweler here in town. First I annealed the metal, which was palladium white gold, and then I took a file and carefully filed inside every single cell in order to remove fire scale, but also to give a kind of a bite so that the enamel had something to hold on to. This took quite a long time. Once I had all the insides filed, I was able to start packing. So what I'm doing here is I have small grains of glass which are wet just with plain water, and I'm using the surface tension of the water to hold them inside the holes. As you can see, this particular cell that I'm working on now took quite a long time because it was just a little bit large. Smaller cells are easier to deal with, but this piece turned out just fine in the end. Yeah, but just be conscious of the size of the cells. Once the whole piece was finished, I had to dry it completely, and then I placed it on a trivet to dry on top of the kiln to make sure it was very dry. And then I started wet packing the second wing. This one was a little bit easier because the holes were a little bit smaller, and I was able to fill them all just using the surface tension of the water. This may look like a white enamel, but actually it's pink, very, very pale pink. Before I started this project, I did some tests to make sure I was using enamels that all melted at exactly the same temperature, or very, very close to the same temperature. As you'll see when we come up, the firings are very, very precise. This was the first time I had ever worked with palladium white gold, and I found it very, very good for Plique jour because it doesn't move very much. Most metals expand and contract when they are heated, but palladium does not move very much at all, so it was a more stable background for delicate procedure like Plique jour. Now I have both pieces, both wings, filled entirely with one layer of enamel, and I'm ready to fire them. Firing is the most difficult part. It takes extraordinary precision because I want to fire it in such a way that the grains just barely begin to melt. If they melt too much, they will fall out. And here you can see I have a perfect sugar fire where all the little grains are kind of holding together in a kind of a lacy pattern. You can see through. You can see there's a few little spaces, but those are going to be easy to fill now. This piece got fired just a teeny little bit farther. You can tell because it's clearer, but it still is a perfect base to start building my layers. So now I'm going to be adding the colors, but it's going to be much easier because I don't have to rely on surface tension because I have a layer of enamel that's there already. So I'm doing a shading in this piece from blue to purple to yellow to green across the piece. So on this side I will do all those colors in a certain order and I will be ready to fire them. Every time I fire this piece, I must not fire it past sugar fire. I must fire it only to the point where the little grains just barely start to stick together, but not until they melt. Because if they melt, they will fall right through those holes. So this is actually, that piece has been fired, and now what I've done is I've flipped them over, and I'm wet packing the same colors, but overlapping them in a slightly different way on the back, so that we have a nice blend from one color to another. This is what it looks like after about 2 layers, and then I put another layer on each side so that it gets a little bit more intense. And I just keep flipping it and putting a layer and flipping it and putting a layer until I reach the surface of the metal, the same level as the metal. Actually bring it a little bit further, a little bit higher than the metal, because I still want to keep all my firings in this sugary state. But because I want it to fire smooth in the end, I have to build the sugar fires up to a teeny little bit higher than the metal, so that when I grind it back to the level of the metal, it will be perfectly smooth. I use a diamond cloth to grind the enamel. Works very quickly and gives a nice fine surface. Sometimes Plique jour is left in that state, like slightly matte finish, but for these particular wings I decided to do a shiny finish. So here's your sugar fire finish just before it's been sanded. But after it's been sanded and refired, now you can see we have a more smooth surface. And there's the other wing. And here's the wings, put on a little diamond encrusted rabbit with his little ruby eye. And here's the finished piece.